Hey there, and welcome to Bold Badass Business, where we bring you badasses from all over the globe who are here to kick your butt, support you, motivate you, inspire you, so that you can have the badass business of your dreams. And you all, I have to tell you that I'm super excited today. You can see me wiggling in my chair. I'm super excited today to have with us Kaluwa, the queen of transformation. And Kaluwa is such an interesting spirit. I've had the pleasure of being on her podcast, and we have met through other networking events and through people we both love and respect. And I always know that those are going to be the best connections. Mm-hmm. And you all tune in. Don't leave today, because we may, in fact, pull a special card reading for your business. Woo! So don't leave. And plus, there are surprises at the end. There are gifts. So stay tuned for the whole episode. So thank you so much, Kaluwa, for being here. I know you have many, many, many years of experience guiding people, coaching people, giving readings, bringing the woo-woo with the business acumen. And so good to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Barnsley. It's great to be here.
Yeah, let's have some fun. I mean, Friday afternoon. Woo, woo.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, woo, let your hair down.
Woo-hoo, let that hair down. If you have enough hair to let down. If you don't, yes. Well, bless your heart. So Kaluwa, today I love this topic. You all, the title of this is so great. I hope you saw it, everybody listening. But if you didn't, here it is. Stop running with sandbags. How to turn have-tos into get-tos in your business. This is such a timely topic, Kaluwa, because everyone's overwhelmed. Everyone I talk to is overwhelmed. Yeah. And they have more on their to-do list than Santa does, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy we're talking about this.
Yeah, me too. And I actually love the way it came up. You and I were in conversation, and it just sort of came out, that whole running with sandbags, because ultimately that is my nightmare. That is not something I enjoy doing, that, the working out of lifting 100-pound bags of sand and throwing them around. And that's just my nightmare. And so it's always my example of how I absolutely don't want to be arriving in this world.
Right. And, sandbags they're so disastrous. They're so heavy.
Yes.
I'd almost rather have a ball and chain, seriously. And sandbags, they get wet, and then I don't like running, period. But yes. Running with sandbags, that's even worse.
It's awful. It's such a soapbox thing of mine, because, there's so many messages coming at us about, in the business world, in the personal development world, even in the spiritual development world, that can be really toxic, and telling you, you have to do it this way. You have to do these things, or else, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to grow. You're not going to be good enough, and if you don't do it, you don't have the willpower. And I feel like those are really toxic messages.
I love you're bringing that up. There's so many. And, it's like the marketers are preying upon people's fear of missing out, FOMO,
yeah. FOMO,
right?
Yeah.
Don't miss this, or your business will go down. Well, the truth of the matter is, usually when there's such a toxic message, it's somebody who's trying to sell a program that's a cookie cutter. So it's not going to work for everybody anyway.
Yes. There is no one way to go, and for me, it feels like we're being gaslit into believing that it has to be like, you have to do this certain thing. And, the running with sandbags is just an example, as far as the way you move your body, right? We want to be healthy. Okay. Maybe we have this big intention, this big goal, whatever you call it, of being healthy, and you want to get in shape. Right. And so somebody says, well, you've got to get up at 4 a.m. and do the hardcore running and CrossFit and all of this stuff. And if you can't get yourself up at 4 a.m. to do it, you have no willpower. You're a failure. Right. And I say no. And what I love about the timing of this is it's Friday the 13th, which is a divine feminine energy day, right?
Woo!
So let's bring in that divine feminine energy. So for me,
Yes.
that is my nightmare. I'm not going to get up at 4 a.m. to go do this, right? For me, many years I danced and
Mhm.
I taught dance. And so that, so first of all, it was my job. It was a side effect of my job. I was in shape. But then when I stopped teaching, it was like, okay, it's time to do something. So I got back into martial arts after
Mhm.
many, many years. And what I love about this example is it shows us that it's not about willpower. It's about pleasure. It's about enjoyment. So, I take my class in the evenings and, it's that sort of witching hour where you're like kind of crashing for the day. And
Yeah.
sometimes there are days where it's like, oh, I'm tired. I don't feel like going. But I love the class
Mhm.
so much that I'm like, oh, I don't want to miss it. I love this class. I'll get my energy when I get there. And I get myself up and I go, not because I'm forcing myself, not because I have more willpower than somebody else, because I found something that I love,
Mhm.
something that's in alignment for me and works for me. And it's easy. It makes me want to do it.
And you're focused on what I hear and what you're saying is you're also focused on how it makes you feel, which is great. And so you focus on the outcome that comes from being part of the class
Yes.
instead of what has to happen, like maybe you have to get up off the couch and
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
your car. You're
Yeah.
focused on the outcome. And I think that's so important when we remind ourselves of the why or the desired result that we have, like I desire to make a huge impact, so I will make those calls I need to make. Or
Yes.
I desire to feel better, so I will do some exercise, walking or whatever it is. Or I desire to feel lighter, so I will go gluten free. That's me recently. So I desire to feel, I don't desire to feel bloated. What do we not want, and what do we want? And when we're in touch with that, it becomes a lot easier to remove the resistance, doesn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's not a matter of you are not as disciplined as the next person or you don't have the willpower or it's just it goes back to there's no one diet for every person. There's no one exercise routine for every person. There's no one business paradigm for every person.
Yes, and there's no one body type for every person, and there's no one, yes, business paradigm, as you put it. I'm so glad you're saying that because I've been, when I was in the National Speakers Association and pretty active there, it always annoyed me when I would go to the events, the big meetings, and I would hear all these people giving these prescriptive ways to run your speaking business.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, it's got to be customized to your desires and what you want. I have
Absolutely.
no desire to be on the road 300 days out of the year. I have no desire to be like Tony Robbins having a 2-year-old right now because he's been home during COVID, but before that he was everywhere. I,
Yeah.
I, I would rather work with people virtually and travel locally as in North Carolina and close by Virginia.
Yeah.
And if it's Hawaii, yes, I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on the podcasters cruise to the Caribbean. I don't even know where we're going. It's fine. It's all about the people. But the point being, we've got to be in touch with our wants and be in touch with what brings us joy.
Yes.
And for me, doing martial arts every night would not bring me joy. It wouldn't, though I love
Yes.
watching it. You
Yeah.
know, what brings me joy is like taking a relaxing walk out in nature, but that's fine.
Yeah.
It's about the stage of life we're in. It's
Yeah.
about
And
what we
finding what works for you.
yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you, I mean, there's been a few times where I've shelled out big money to
Mhm.
work with these really, big deal people and my business tanked.
Yep.
Tanked. It actually, I went from here expecting to go up here and instead I went down here. you know? And it was because they were taking me further away from my alignment.
That is profound. They were taking you for, I want everybody to hear this. They were taking what is taking you further away from your alignment. And you may be studying with somebody who's the big guru or the, and you're in that area of marketing or whatever it is, online presence. But if what they're prescribing to you isn't what you need, what the entity that is your business needs, your business has a personality just like you. If
Yes.
it's not that, your business has an energy just like you.
Yeah.
If what this person is prescribing is not in alignment, it's not going to work. Kaluwa, you're making me think about somebody who I very much like. I always appreciated him. He was a veteran coach, and I went and took his courses, but he was all about the numbers.
Yeah.
And I know I do track things and I'm about the numbers, but I'm also about energy.
Yes.
All right. And some of the things he would say, like, you make 20 calls and you'll have X amount, would just drive me crazy.
Yes.
No, I will make 3 calls to 3 people I feel energetically in alignment with, and I have better results that way.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's less work.
Yes. And that's it. We're so caught up in that no pain, no gain mentality. It's been drilled in for so long. We feel
Yeah.
like it has to be hard. It has to be grueling, or else you're not going to get there. And that's actually not the case. It's, when you're in that energetic alignment, you're just radiating. You radiate, and people are drawn to you.
Yes. And you're not, look, martyrdom has never brought people business.
No.
Okay.
No.
Maybe it brought the saints in the Catholic Church some business. It brought the Catholic Church some business, didn't it? People buying candles to light, whatever else, charms and trinkets and everything else for that saint. But, no, martyrdom does not attract people who we will enjoy working with.
Yes. Yeah.
I have this leadership seminar, and one of the paradigms I talk about, I have these different paradigms and I illustrate them with movie stars, right? Or figures, political figures. Like I have the dictator, and that's Hitler, right? The Hitler leader, my way or the highway. But one of the things I talk about is the martyr, right? The leader who does everything by themselves, has to have it done perfectly, that doesn't delegate, and then complains about how hard they're working. And isn't that most small business owners?
Yes. Yes.
It's like we get some kind of badge if we worked a 50 or 60-hour week. No, I give myself a badge for working less than 25 hours a week. I never want to work more than 25 hours a week.
Yeah. 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 And then, it's funny. I think about a lot of coaching now goes the other way, where they're saying, remove yourself from the business, leverage the business, make it so you don't even have to be there at all. Right. And that was causing me misalignment, because I love that. I want to be there.
That's the part you love.
People. That's the whole point. You say to delegate out the stuff that doesn't bring you joy, the stuff that's not your genius zone. And that's fantastic, right? Yes. But when that part is your genius zone, why would you delegate that out?
Exactly. And then what happens is these business owners who do delegate all the stuff that is their zone of genius that they love doing, because that's usually one and the same. Then they're like project managers, administrative people for this whole big organization. I have no desire to have a huge organization of people I manage. I'm very clear, getting into 7 figures is just fine, but I will do it. If I want to do it, it will be with a small team, right? A very small team. And I will still be the one providing what I provide, the coaching I provide, badass business coaching. And I see that, so many people get pulled into this promise that then, you can go work remotely here and there, and you can go be on a beach. But what are you going to do after a while? You're going to be bored as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to have your purpose.
Yes.
Your purpose is managing people.
Maybe 15 years down the road, that is the goal. But being
Maybe.
in the season that you're in and
Yeah.
enjoying the season that you're in, I think is so important. And that really, again, goes back to the sandbags. They talk about if you're living in the past, it's depression. If you're living in the future, it's anxiety. So you
Mm.
want to be in the present. But then in the present, we're telling ourselves we have to be miserable. So how do we enjoy that journey?
We don't.
I
And
know.
then one day our expiration date comes,
Yeah.
and it comes for everybody. Guess what? 100 out of 100 people have an expiration date.
Yes. Yes.
That's a statistic. You know, yeah. And then what do we do? What do we have to show for it? I mean, the journey, to me, the journey, and that's why I love this topic, and actually in the description, I was talking about how you will share with us how to enjoy every part of the journey. If we're filled with dread when we get up in the morning about what we've got to do, I have to do
What do
this,
we
I
have
have
to
to do
do?
that, I must, I should, if
Yeah.
I don't, here's what's going to happen. If we're in this punitive model, there's no room for creative joy, and
Yeah.
there's no room for new innovation either.
Yeah. And it's reminding me of, just recently I took some time off. Um,
Mhm.
and I did actually just like at home, time away. And it was because my day to day had become have to do's.
Mhm.
Even though it was all stuff I love, I had gotten so rushed for time that they had all become have to do's instead of get to do's.
Mm.
And so just taking that step back, taking a few things off my plate, allowed me to breathe
Mm.
and just indulge in that time.
And I want to ask you this: how did what was your bliss list? What were the things you were just the simple things you were enjoying
It
during
was
that
like the
time?
simplest things were like feeding the animals. I've got my son's bunny, the cats, and like, but it had been like, oh, I gotta get them fed, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, right.
hustling, slinging out
Here's the
food.
food. Oh wait, I just fed the bunny to the cat. Whoops.
But I love going to do that. And like, the bunny every morning, I give him his little treat and he runs up and he eats it out of my hands and I pet him and we have this time every morning.
Dopamine hits with bunny.
What's that?
Dopamine hits with bunny.
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
dopamine hit.
But I was rushing that because it's like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I was like, no, 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 no.
Mm.
Time to hit the pause button if I'm rushing through the stuff I love. So now it's time to figure out, okay, what's heavy? What am I putting down? What is not in alignment for me? And that, I mean, I think I spent most of August unraveling and figuring out how do I want to honor my time and shift things because I do love a lot of things, but I also want to do them in the most effective way so that it's not draining me.
I think you're making a really powerful point, and I hope everyone listening is catching this. And that is our businesses evolve. And maybe the thing that was really juicing us at one point, like it
Yes.
was just new and it was exciting and we loved it and it was fabulous. Well, there may come a point where we're like, something else is calling me.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time to shift the amount of
Yes.
time I spend in that other thing to the new thing. Like, where is the energy in your business?
Yeah.
Very important question. Like, where's the zing? I just looked through with one of my coaches a flyer I'd done because she was saying, yeah, you need to do a 3-hour seminar for everybody and just let it be $97. And I was like, yeah, I'll just do BOGO. Let people bring a friend. And I said, let's look at my different things that I have. And I read through the whole list on my website, Kaluwa. You all listen, I'm admitting this, right? I've been in business 24 years. Okay. So I can do this. I went through the whole list and I was like, none of this is singing for me. I said, none of it. I don't want to do any of this. And she said, I know. I'm kind of feeling like you should take the networking one and you should work more with people on their follow-up system. And I said, well, yeah, that sounds really interesting because I do have one. I have a follow-up system that's really wonderful and I love it. And it doesn't even involve a CRM, a customer relationship manager. She said, now that right there, that's a topic. But the point being, you all, we've got to look at what is juicing us at the moment. And those things that aren't, put them on, as you say it, put them on pause. Yes. I just took a hiatus from one program I was in because it was becoming too much.
Yeah.
I said, I got to go on hiatus. And thankfully the program creator and director let me do that. She knows me well. And I said, look, I'm involved in a lot of things, a lot of projects, and this needs to be on hold for a bit. And she's already been paid in full. So it's, I said, just put me on pause. But that's important. Oh, there's Katie.
Speaking of cats.
She's like, I heard the word bunny. We're not getting a bunny. You have 3 dogs and 1 other cat. Don't even say it. No bunnies. Like, that would be fun. I bet you'd enjoy that. But the point being that we got to just really be real with ourselves about what's doing and what's not.
Yes. And I know for me, it ended up being, I thought I was going to throw a whole thing out, but then every time I thought about completely throwing it out, it made me sad because I didn't like it. And so it was like, well, wait a second. What if I consolidated my time like this and shifted just a little bit? And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I can breathe again. It was like that expansion feeling in your chest. And it was like, yes.
So you took a little time away, right? Is that right? And then you came back to it with kind of new eyes, with what the Buddhists call beginner's mind. And you said, wait a second, why didn't I see this before? I could do this and it would be, that is so powerful. It's kind of like redecorating your house for the year of what is it this year? I've forgotten. The rooster, is that right?
Is it rooster?
You're the rooster? I've forgotten.
Or
the year of the horse.
Anyway. Year has been dragon.
Yes, something like that. But anyway,
dragon, I believe.
Yes. And one of the things my mother, who knows all about this, said is you need to change 2 or 3 things in every room in your house. Yeah. And I said, okay, great. Just move them around. And I started looking at my art and moving all my art around. And it just made it so much happier for me. And it made everything new again, though it wasn't new. The art has been here, most of it. Some of it, a couple of pieces are fairly new, but it just created like a new look in every room. And it did not take much. It was like moving this statue here, moving that piece here, moving this piece of furniture, over in that corner. And it makes me think about in our businesses, oftentimes it isn't exactly the elements, but it's just the way we've arranged them that needs to be shifted.
Yes. And it's funny as you say that, because I do so much work with the seasons, because each season brings a different energy. And so as we tap into that energy, again, it's sort of like, floating down the river instead of swimming against the stream, against the current. And so each season I do just a little shift in the house, maybe the colors or, something shifts with each season. And it's sort of like this visual reminder to me of, like right now we're going into fall. Things are more grounded, more balanced, right? And we start to embrace that and have those visual reminders as well.
That is really, really interesting. So let's talk for a second about we're just coming out of summer and we're moving into fall. What is summer in our businesses and what is fall in our businesses? What are we leaving behind, Kaluwa, and what are we moving into these days?
Well, summer is fire energy, right? So that's that real strong action. We've got the long days, we've got more energy. But, about 5 weeks ago now, we moved into that mid-season where that earth energy, that earth element started to come in, and then fall will be fully earth, which is grounded. So, we're moving into that balance. And that's a lot of where people are feeling overwhelmed right now, how you mentioned at the beginning, people are feeling really overwhelmed. Yeah, because that fire energy is starting to come back down and it's time to
Mm.
get back into balance. It's already happening. We're feeling it. And so now we're wanting to reevaluate. Okay, how do I need to balance? How do I want to balance my time so I don't feel overwhelmed? We are harvesting right
Mm.
now all of the things that we've been growing all year, right, since last fall. And we're going into the time, this is sort of the energetic, not sort of, this is the energetic new year. And
Mhm.
so this is where we plant our big bulbs, our main intentions, the big rocks, right? If
Yep.
you've ever seen that.
Yeah.
So this is where we want to, again, be comfortable with the quiet, right? We're always, especially in business, we're told, go, move forward, forward,
Yeah.
forward, 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 go, go, go. And the powerful, most powerful insight happens when you lean back and let it just be still for a moment and get quiet.
It makes me think about the trees. What you're saying really makes me think about the trees. Because think about that, the trees in the fall are letting go of letting go of the leaves, letting go of the
Yeah.
dead, right? And the trees are rooting into the earth. And
Mm-hmm.
if they weren't rooted into the earth and stuff started falling off, then what would happen? They'd fall over. So
Right
it's
away.
like, they root into the earth, and then we're just getting rid of the things that don't serve us, the things that we're not juiced about, the things that are not giving us that energetic zing, so that we can be ready for the new year,
Yeah.
January, new year, so that we can finish out this quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Harvesting, and
Yes.
decide, as you say, as you put it, plant the big bulbs, the big
Yeah.
rocks for 2025,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
next year. If you're
Yeah.
listening to this later, it's still true, you all. And it is shown that people at the change of seasons, that there is a little bit more illness, like people get sick, things happen because the body is kind of under stress. As you put it, the fire energy is coming down and the earth energy needs to come up, which
Yeah.
means quiet and grounding and
Yes.
rooting.
And it's interesting how when you fight it, it gets you. I had a year where I was like, nope, nope, I'm going to keep that fire energy going. And I took it was the craziest thing. I stepped down off of something tall and my ankle rolled. And I took the hardest fall just from this simple little ankle roll. And my ankle was just garbage for like 6 weeks. So, the universe said, well, if you're not going to sit down, we're going to sit you down.
And the foot and the ankle are all about moving forward. So it's like, yeah, we're going to make you sit still.
Yes.
You're going to sit still. If you won't sit still, we're going to do it for you.
Yes,
Isn't that
exactly.
the truth?
Yes.
I always say when I'm teaching Reiki, I always say to people, look, our bodies are there to serve us. And so when something's happening, instead of resisting it, can we look at it and say, okay, what is this painful hip telling me?
Yeah.
Oh, I really don't want to move into a new phase of my life. Or what are my painful shoulders telling me? Oh, I'm carrying too many responsibilities for other people that they need to carry for themselves. Maybe
Yes.
I'm not delegating to my VA enough. Maybe I'm not getting help with, maybe I don't have a team around me that
Mhm.
helps me with my taxes, that helps me with my projects at home, like home repair. Maybe I don't have a dentist, a acupuncturist, a doctor. Maybe I don't really have a group that's supporting me, and I need to create that for myself
Yes.
and for my business.
Yes.
Maybe I don't have a coach,
Mhm.
which we know is super sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all need it.
Mhm.
All of us need coaches. I just celebrated the 24th anniversary of my business on September 11th. And it was the year
Congratulations.
before the Twin Towers came down Kaluwa. And as I was writing, as I realized that, I just wrote this post and I had tears in my eyes. And I was just thanking everyone who's been on this journey with me. And there were way too many people that I could ever mention. But when I spoke with one of my coaches this week, I said, I want you to read it. And you're part of that. I want you to know. Of course, you know that looking at it. But it just made me realize how much help I've had.
Yeah.
You know, how much help. And I don't just even mean my business help. I mean, people like my mechanic who would come to my house. He recently went back to his home country, Venezuela, but he would come to my house and work on my car when I was working.
That's awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
thank God for Jose.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I hope everybody listening to this conversation that we're having, I hope you're thinking, well, who do I need on my team? Because part of turning the have tos into get tos is actually giving them to somebody who sees them as a get to, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's it. I do that all the time. For me, copy paste work is not my jam. I don't enjoy it. I procrastinate on it and it takes a while to get done. And I have a person who is just like, phew, she is so fast with it. She loves it. It's done. Like it's sort of like that dopamine check off, like done. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That would have taken me 3 weeks to even think about doing.
And most of those 3 weeks would be spent thinking about, I have to do this.
I'm not doing it. I don't feel like
actually doing the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So then we get back to that. Is it in alignment?
Right.
It's not a matter of willpower. It's a matter of it's not in alignment for you.
So what you're saying is making me think that we can give everybody a little homework right now. I mean, I hate that word homework, but a little fun exploration, y'all.
There we go.
Exploration, not homework. That's, but sit down and take an inventory. Like get a piece of paper and put a line down the middle, everybody. And on the left, I want you to put everything that, you're doing in your business. Just put it all down, everything you can think of from the beginning of the day on in your business. And if you're at home, working from home, there's going to be other stuff like maybe you're doing laundry, maybe you're putting away the dishes, whatever. Put all the stuff you do in a random day, a normal day. And then draw an arrow over to the other side for the things that don't give you energy, that feel like have tos.
Yeah.
Draw an arrow over and circle the ones on the left side that do feel good to you, that you really enjoy. I mean, that's what I'm really hearing from you, Kaluwa, is like, what's in alignment with me? What gives me some energy? What do I get some juice from? I keep using that word, but what gives me a little electric charge, or just a little light in my being and my soul when I think about it? Oh, I get to send out this e-zine. Maybe that makes you happy. And somebody else may be like, ugh, I have to send out the e-zine. Yeah. It's just what it is for you. And then draw an arrow over and put in the right side the ones that need to be either omitted or given to somebody else, or even given to software that can take care of it.
It can sometimes even be just a part of it. Like, oh, I love writing out the copy for the e-zine. I hate going in and formatting it and doing all that. Fine, write it out and send it to your person and let them do that part.
Fabulous point. So I will add to that exploration I just gave. When you have a bigger thing, like maybe you want to write a book, there's so much involved in writing a book, and maybe the only thing you really enjoy is the writing part, and you want somebody else to illustrate it, somebody else to put it into Kindle, somebody else to publish it, somebody else to do the typesetting, whatever. Then break that down and put those things you don't want to do over on the right, and just keep the one you like. I love that. Kaluwa, I had a realization many years ago about cleaning. And this is sort of funny. Before I had money really to hire a cleaner, I realized I hate dusting. So I literally hired somebody just to dust. That's all they did. Dust.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Now I have a house cleaner who does it all. But now what I say is, I like laundry. Laundry's fine. I enjoy clothes. I enjoy laundry, but that's it. Right. And I'll do the
is my main one too.
Yeah.
And I don't mind vacuuming. So a lot of times I'll take the vacuum hose to kind of
suck up some bad energy, suck that shit up. Yeah, but this is a really great point you're making. This is really genius. I hope y'all are hearing what she's laying down, because this is good stuff. That when you think about a task like the e-zine, maybe you're making me realize, Kaluwa, the thing I don't enjoy about the e-zine is going in and putting it into the database and making sure it's customized and all of that. All right.
Yeah.
The part I do enjoy is the writing or the sending out a video, doing the video and having that there. But the part I don't enjoy is that. So we want to break down, if we have resistance to something, we want to really ask, well, what part of it am I resisting?
And this happened quite a few people in my community earlier in this summer, where it was like, this is something I love. What is happening? Why am I so resistant to it? Why do I not want to do this? And, you know, what we have to remember is when we pursue something, in the pursuit, we change, we grow. And so doing the same thing no longer feels fulfilling. We have to tweak it. We have to shift it, just like we've shifted. And so, okay, I do still love this aspect of it, but I don't love that aspect. So now we tweak.
I love this. I'm putting it into the chat for everybody. So Genius from Kaluwa, when you have a task you are resisting, break it up and figure out what specific part of it you don't enjoy and get that off your plate.
Yeah.
Keep your zone of genius.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's another point I'm really taking away from what we said earlier is keep your zone of genius. Even if somebody says you need to have X number of people and employees and whatnot, if that's not your jam, if that's not what lights you up, like I get lit up like you with the coaching one-on-one, I will never give that stuff up. You know, I just won't. And if somebody told me to, and I became a project manager, I would be just dreadfully miserable.
Yeah.
We got to know ourselves.
Yes. And that's it. You know, the big part of that is connecting to yourself. Again, taking that time to allow things to become quiet, to be still, to breathe, and connect to yourself so that you can get that clarity. You can receive, you know, the insights, the downloads. And then probably most importantly is trusting yourself.
Because if somebody else who's supposedly so successful is trying to cram something down your throat and that's just not you, it's so important to be able to say, that's not me.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we've learned now, right? You know, we don't go to a doctor and let him be the expert of a body you've been in 40, 50, 60, however many years. I've been in this body. Trust me, right? Same thing. Don't make everybody an expert over you.
I love this. Okay, this is a true gem. I'm putting that in the chat. Don't make everybody else an expert over you. You really know yourself. You know your business best. You
and
know
when you're grounded and you're in alignment, people will show up and deliver the messages, right? But it doesn't have to be, oh, I need to do exactly what this person is saying. Maybe it's, I hear something in there. There's a little kernel I need to pull out of there. And then I might take that idea and run with it, or, right? So again, we're not making them an expert, but we're welcoming some guidance, some advice that may work for our highest good. That
feedback.
Alignment.
Yeah, feedback, which we can see, does it land with me? Does it feel true to me or not? And really be the judge of that. You know, I know a coach of mine was saying, well, I was feeling anxiety about a certain thing. And she said, well, maybe it's not anxiety, it's excitement. And I said, no, it's anxiety. She did what you did. She started laughing. I said, but I know it because I know how anxiety feels in my body. And I know where anxiety goes when it's there.
Yeah.
So I would say too, to add to this, Kaluwa, for everybody, is really think about your body as a barometer for your business. And think about, you know, when you get tight shoulders.
Yes.
What's going on in your business? Because I bet there's a pattern there. Or when you get pain in your hip, what's going on in your business? Now, certainly it can be that you've been sitting a long time, but it's also other stuff. that is manifesting through the body. And the body is letting us know, as your body let you know in August, time to slow down.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And I had mentioned earlier, for me, it'll feel congested here, like contracted. And then when the right thing comes along, it's like like it just opens up. You can feel that difference. And I'll even guide people through a visualization sometimes when they're so stuck. Like, okay, sit back, relax. I want you to envision, option A, and then envision option B. And they will always know immediately, like they can just feel it happen in their body. Like, okay, that's the way to go.
Just like at the eye doctor.
Yeah.
A or B. A
Yes,
or B. Which is better? A or B.
exactly.
But
Which is
you're right.
clearer.
No. Which is clearer? Which does your body expand with? Which feels like a little tickle and which feels like a, and that's where knowing the signals of your body is so important, knowing the signals of your body, knowing when your body is saying, you better go take a walk and get away from this, or, we're going to shut you down because right now you're not doing anything productive. Which, by the way, you alluded to struggle, and I always call it the addiction to struggle, which so many business owners have. Like, I have to work X amount of hours. It has to be, you said it has to be hard. It has to be a challenge. These ideas, which are societally scripted into us and then rewarded.
Yeah.
Sad, right?
Yeah.
It's really countercultural to decide, well, you know what? I'm going to make more money than I've ever made, and I'm going to work 20 hours a week or 15 hours a week or whatever. But what I found, I want to see if you found this, Kaluwa, as soon as I made a decision, this is what's going to happen. And there's certain other things you do. You raise your rates, you add more value, etc. You tighten up your messaging. But as soon as I made that commitment and decision, it began to happen. As soon as I stopped buying into that martyrdom, like, oh, I've worked 80 hours. Look at me. I'm such a great business owner. And realized, I don't have to do that. The whole 40-hour work week was decided by industrialism.
Yes. Yes. That's where they convinced you need to have 8 hours of sleep so that people could feel like that they still had, living time, sleep time, and then they could go to work. Yeah.
And you know what about sleep? I sleep until I'm not tired. It was one of those things I said is, if you want to be an entrepreneur, one of the reasons I became an entrepreneur is so I could wake up, so I could get up when I wake up.
Yeah.
Think about it. Now, I can't always do that.
Yeah.
But
balance, moderation. But yeah.
I'm way more a night owl and than I am, an early morning person. Early morning is my slower time cognitively. Mm-hmm. And just knowing that it's the time that I'm going to do things like network where
know yourself. That's it. Yeah. So why would you get up at 4 or like the 5 a.m.ers club? Like you hear all this stuff like you've got to get up at 5 a.m. and write your book and you got to do. But if that's your slow cognitive time, why on earth? That would be the worst book ever.
But sometimes I'm up until 4 a.m. I'm up until 4 a.m. and then I'll sleep till 11 and I feel wonderfully rested. It's so important to know ourselves. Well, Kaluwa, oh my God, you and I could talk forever. I want us to give everybody a quick card, because do you have your cards?
Right on the other side of that door.
Woohoo! You want to grab them and tell everybody real quickly, and let's pull a card. This will be so fun. Woohoo! So you all, Kaluwa has some really neat cards. She has moon cards and she has some other types of cards. And every month, while she's grabbing those, I'll tell you that every month she does a reading and I get it in my email and I really enjoy it. So one thing you're going to want to do is go into our freebie vault and you're going to want to get her email newsletter so you can hear what her business forecast is for that that particular month. It's very interesting. And I've had individual readings. I've had an individual reading with Kaluwa as well. And that was very, very, very interesting. So I just want to tell you, I only endorse people and products and services that I've tried, but I want to tell you that it was really good. So Kaluwa, what are we going to ask?
So I've brought Gaia cards, right? Because they're earth energy, and that's what we're moving into right now. Next week, I believe it is, right? Next week is when we hit the fall equinox.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can do just a overall general guidance, or what do you think? More specific? You have something in mind?
Do guidance for your business. Guidance for your business this month, this next month, for the coming month, from now till September into early October. And let's see what the Gaia cards have to say. And by the way, you all watching, are you enjoying this? Make a comment. All my guests come on and give their time, and they're just generous. And then we have gifts for you at the end, so don't leave. But let's see what the forecast is for the coming month in business. What guidance are we getting?
And as I do this too, I like to, I talk about, the thing I like about the cards is they're just sort of this trigger for you, this clarity, so that you can get outside of yourself, right? So sometimes, well, not just sometimes, many times we get stuck in the loop right in here, the overthinking loop. And this sort of takes us out of our own way and gives us these little trigger ideas and thoughts. And all of a sudden, and then we can run with it. We get this clarity.
It's like a visual representation of something that we may intuit. We might have a feeling or a sense of it, but then when we see it, it's like, oh, that's my experience. And I read tarot, and I read runes, and I read different things. Not everybody knows that, but I love that. And I'm a dowser. So when we read that, right, it's so interesting, because usually a theme that we've been thinking about is suddenly brought to the fore, and where we realize, oh, right, this is confirmation. All right, what you got for us?
All right, I'm pulling 3.
Okay, well, let's go fairly quickly, because
we'll go quickly. So, evolution. So this is where we're coming from. Some evolution. Let me see if I can. Evolving, transformation, growing. There's shifts and changes happening in the business.
New projects.
Whether you're in touch with it or not, things are shifting. So if you're not in touch with it, let's get in alignment, right? Let's connect to it. Things are shifting, and the more that you embrace the shifts, the better it's going to feel, right? Because then we have our 9 of Hearts, our fulfillment. Fulfillment. This is basically the whole conversation we just had, right? The joy, the pleasure, the harmony. Why do you do it?
The zing.
The zing. Why do you do this? What lights you up? What makes your feet want to jump out of that bed and start again, right? And through all this, we've got some liberation, some breaking free.
Oh, beautiful. Which bird is that?
Dove.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. Now you know that the dove is in my logo, right? Spirited Solutions.
I did not realize that. That's
awesome. Oh, that's wild. Oh, that is so wild. Because I looked and I said, I think that's dove. Oh boy. Woo, I'm getting some.
And this is very specifically too breaking free from maybe something negative or something heavy, right? So again, sort of recapping this whole conversation. So this conversation was clearly very timely, right? So this is where we are. We're clearing out the heavy. We're clearing out the stuck,
the dreaded,
and we're opening things up. And it looks like going into the end of fall, early winter, with some really nice flowing energy, which winter will be water, will flow.
Ooh, Ooh, I love that. We can all just take hot baths with Epsom salts and lavender. I'm feeling it. Well, you know what I was hearing as you were saying that, it was like we're moving from the ugh to the ah.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Love
the
that.
ooh, yeah.
Sound effects. I love sound effects.
From the ugh to the ooh.
Perfect.
Our
Yes.
businesses. So if it's an ugh, get it off your freaking plate, people. And if it's an
Yeah.
don't feel guilty about
Yeah.
doing it.
And give yourself that grace. A lot of times then we're like, oh, why have I been doing this so long? Because it's fine, you know?
Because you love it.
Could give yourself the grace to, okay, yes, I've been doing this thing that doesn't light me up for a while, but I see it now. I have the awareness now, and now I will shift.
I'm putting this down. Don't feel guilty about giving up the ughs in your business and life, and letting in the oohs. I don't know how to spell that, but anyway, I just put whoa, oohs, or the ahs.
Yes.
You know, oohs and ahs. And really, you all, you know, the sounds of those words coming back to how it feels in the body. Think about it. Ugh. It's like a burp. It's like a fart. It's, you know, ugh, ugh. It's like you have indigestion. But when you say ooh or ah, and you can listen to yourself. Like, look at this list we were talking about, the exploration to have you do earlier. Look at the list and go through and ask yourself, is it an ooh, an ah, or an ugh? That's another way to tell what you need to let go of.
I love
And
that.
let go of it. The trees do not apologize for letting go of stuff.
Yes.
They don't. And the death of those leaves, the like composting of the leaves, the regeneration of the leaves leads to the new growth.
That's what transformation is. You cannot have that new without the die off of the old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cleansing process.
Yes.
You know, and so we're calling for a radical cleanse in your business, everybody. And having a badass business is about being willing to let go of the have tos, being willing to give them to someone else or software, or, you know, just let them go, period. Don't even do them if they're not important. And, you know, much of what we think is important in business isn't. That's the other thing I love to figure out with my clients, is just like, why are you even worrying about that? That is not important. There are moments that
it's
I'm
important
not.
to say that it can sound simplistic in practice,
Yeah.
or in theory, but in practice, it can be really challenging. So
Yes.
again, don't beat yourself up. You know, don't, you know, get into that place of, oh, why can't I do that? You know, that evolution of learning to trust yourself may take a few
And have a
trials.
coach to bounce it off of. So
Yes.
go to your coach and say, and I said this the other day to one of mine, I said, you know, I'm resisting a certain thing that I was supposed to do for this certain group and on a monthly basis, and I'm just not getting it done. And I was really super excited before, but something's holding me back. Well, then I got some information when I bounced it off a colleague. I got some information that let me know, nope,
Yeah.
don't want to invest my energy there.
Yeah.
And it was so, I said, I'm so grateful for this conversation,
Yep.
but
Don't
I'm
force.
grateful that I was listening.
Yeah. And I'll do that a lot with people. You know, people will come to me, I'm resisting. And we get to the root. All right.
Mhm.
Instead of, okay, you got to make yourself get up. You got to
Yeah,
do
get
this.
that
You got
thing done.
willpower. Okay. Let's get to the root. What's actually going on?
Mhm.
And then, you know, you do that whole name it to tame it. And all of a sudden it's easy. It's easy.
Name it to tame it. I love that. I'm putting that in here. I haven't heard that, and I love that. Name it to tame it. Very good, because we've got to name it. And usually what people say is the problem isn't. So I had somebody the other day telling me they wanted to publish a book, but they're waiting for angel investors of 100K. And I'm like, it's not the money that's holding you back. You could have 100K in your hands by next week. I have an 8-page document that would tell you how. It's not the money.
Yeah.
Something else underneath, you know? Yeah. Name it to tame it, but you got to have somebody who's going to be real with you to bounce it off of too, right? Who's not going to say, oh, you're right, go with the investors. No, that's the hard way.
Yeah.
That's the hard way. You know, I said, Jeff, good Lord, you could have a HELOC. So easy. Just get a home equity line of credit, for instance. So easy. You can have it at a low interest rate. In other words, the money is not the issue. There's
Yeah.
something in your brain and you're using that as procrastination for doing
Yes.
the thing. So Kaluwa, I know that you're going to give away something to the Bold Badass Business Freebie Vault, which, by the way, everyone, if you are new to the show, grab your pen because you're going to want this. You're going to get thousands and thousands of dollars of gifts going into our freebie vault. And here's where you'll find it. You will find it at bit.ly/, free from Dr. B, and that is DRB. So bit.ly/ free from Dr. B, DRB. And I'll put it right over here. So Kaluwa is going to put in a wonderful thing. When you go into the vault, you'll be able to get access to it. What are you going to give them, Kaluwa? Dun, da, da,
So
da.
I have a service for busy folks, right? Entrepreneurs are busy folks. And so it's a transformation support service that meets you in your time in this busy world. And you get text right to you. You get the energy update for the week, what kind of energy to expect, what to work with, like, so how you can grow yourself. It's always pushing you towards growing yourself into the best version of you. And then each day after that Sunday energy update, you get an affirmation text to you to support the work that you're doing throughout the week. And I always encourage everybody, I do, like, with tapping, we do a little infinity right here coming out of the heart. I say
Yeah.
3 times and tap it into your heart. So you get that, and then you also get the monthly reading, and that would be all complimentary for an entire month.
Beautiful. And how much is the value of that? Just so everybody knows. What's the value of
I
your
mean, the value is,
priceless?
priceless, but it is an affordable. That's one of the things that's in alignment for me, is to keep things very affordable for people, because I want everyone to have access. And so, yeah.
But it's a paid membership. You're giving them a month off. Yay! I love it. I love it. So you want to definitely go into bit.ly/ free from Dr. B, DRB, and look for Kaluwa and grab that membership. Grab that complimentary month that you're getting so that you can find out what she's forecasting. You can be part of the calls, the broadcast. There's a Facebook community too.
Yes.
Beautiful. I love it. So you all take advantage of this. And Kaluwa, I've just thoroughly enjoyed this. I always enjoy your energy.
Oh,
And I just love the way you and I have talked about this, but we're both we're both into some woo-woo, and we both have really solid business practices.
Yeah.
I just think of it as
balance of grounding. Yeah, exactly. And being low.
And guess what, you all listening? That's part of being a badass business too, is having your right and your left brain working together. Having them working together. In other words, having another way to put it is having your intellect and all that business acumen, and having your heart and your mindset right. So they're all working together, and it's not like you're putting one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what so many people are doing right now in business.
And
so I love that you work in
the divine feminine and masculine.
Exactly. This is a yin and yang of business, the anima and animus, if you want to use Carl Jung, or just think of it in scientific terms as right and left brain, right and left brain. Yeah. However you want to conceptualize it. But the whole idea is that we are not just one part. We are not just one part, and we need all of it. And when we command our intuition, right? And I hear you saying so often in the interview, get silent, get quiet, and listen. That is commanding your intuition. Yes. When we're listening, and we're listening to our spirit, we're listening to ourself. If you don't like the word spirit, substitute self. When we're listening to ourselves, then we get information. And sometimes we don't even know where it comes from, but when we act on it, it works. I'm just one last story, one quick story. I'll tell a story. So one day, I have a practice, you all, I love. It was actually in a calendar, this page a day business calendar thing that was published. I was in it for a number of years until she stopped doing it. I loved the calendar. It was really cool. You just pull off every day there was a different business owner giving their wisdom. And one of mine was get still every morning and ask, who do I need to call today? And notice I use the words call. Who do I need to call? I didn't say text. I said call. Who do I need to actually reach out to on Zoom or on the phone or whatever? Well, one day I was doing this and I got this hit, Kaluwa. Oh, you need to call Cherry. Well, I had taught Cherry Reiki like 16 years before then. It was crazy. I found her number. How I did that, I don't even know. Gave her a call and she said, "Oh my God, I never answered the phone, Bardsley. It's so good to hear from you. And you're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" And she said, "I own several spas now. And I was just thinking, who could I bring in to teach some positive, bring some positive energy and teach them something that would help them in their work as massage therapists and estheticians." And there I was, and there you are. So guess who got that job? Woo!
Love it.
And I
Love it.
can so many examples like that. So
Yeah.
y'all listening, the intuition, sometimes people a lot of times people don't follow their intuition. They don't listen. And that means you can miss opportunities that would be there for the abundance of your life and your business and the people that you would be serving if you had listened.
Yes, right there. Yeah.
Listen up, baby.
Yeah.
Kaluwa, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
It really has. And you
Great way to let our hair down.
we let our hair down. My hair's wild because it's so humid here. Everybody listening, even if you don't feel like you have a bold, badass business at this moment, I always like to say, of course you do, or you wouldn't be here with us listening today. You do have a bold, badass business. Tune in every week and we'll help you make it even more badass at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific. Bye, all.
Bye.